Okay, what if Deku was in Little Nightmares? Also, a few things before we get started. Go follow my Twitter. It's just London Silver. It's the same thing. Don't worry about it. And also, God, I had an announcement, but now I forgot. I have like 3 weeks plus this week of school, so on the 16th of this month, I'm pretty sure it's June. Yeah, it's June. I have until the 16th of June until it's my last day of school, so I'm gonna try to do what ifs, even though I'm probably gonna have tests on probably the last weeks. So if I just don't upload for like a week and not even like headcanons for like different videos. So yeah. Also, there it is. What if Deku was trained by Technoblade and Dream? Sorry, it's just that I haven't been even like updating those, and I've just been caught up with newer ones, So I'm gonna try. Also, what if Deku was Filza? Yeah. I haven't done that one in a while, so. Also, what if Deku was Fundy? That's gonna be on hold. Sorry, like, that one's definitely gonna be on hold for now. But I am planning on, like, trying. Also, on the first 2 weeks of my summer vacation, I probably won't upload because I'll be doing things. And since I am going out of, my state for like most of it, for like most of my vacation, I'm pretty sure, unless they want to bail in the last minute, I won't be in my state, so I probably won't have Wi-Fi by then. Maybe in my phone, but definitely not for my computer. And so I might just have to like print out my what ifs and actually do it on paper. That's gonna be a handful, but whatever. Now let's get on to the headcanons and like rules of the world. Okay, Izuku was born in the Little Nightmares world, and maybe in the future will be teleported to the MHA world, or some of the MHA world characters may come there. You decide. I don't really care either one, or I'm probably just gonna wait till they get to the end. Also, spoilers. Like, if you haven't played Little Nightmares or haven't watched someone else play Little Nightmares, I suggest not really watching this one because it has a lot of spoilers and follows like the whole like storyline, sort of. Like the storyline. So yeah. Izuku has a bit of a temper when it comes to the bosses, but he hates the hunters since he hunted him down before and scared him to death and even made a huge scar on his leg. Izuku has scars almost all over his body, but they are not visible to his clothes. Izuku has kind of brown hair that is long and can put into a ponytail, and has bangs to cover his eyes. Izuku wears a coat kind of like Mono, but black and not made for a key, but has pockets and secret pockets and other things. Izuku makes makeshift weapons for himself and is usually concealed from others. So the control tower made the people and the enemies larger than their actual proportions. So if an MHA adult of the show, like Aizawa, were to be there, he would be like to their knee or to their knee or something. Almost to my understanding, of course. This is just my headcanon, so yeah, and I don't think anyone who has a different opinion is wrong. It's just what I think, so yeah, let's continue with the other what ifs. Izuku is skinny and has a little fat and has learned to hunt, to eat better food than what the watchers and the enemies eat like people and kids. The kids in MHA world are taught from a young age to try to become stronger and become heroes. So like they're training. So basically, if they were Izuku and Monos and Six's age, they would be kind of strong, you know? Like enough to protect themselves, you know? So yeah. But Izuku has powers that will not be explained, but we'll discover in the series. And I don't mean Izuku will discover them, I mean you will. So yeah, in the story. So this is Izuku's POV. Like most of my what ifs, except some. So yeah. Let me just move some things around before we get started. Okay. Sorry if I'm not loud enough. It's like early in the morning. Sorry if there's any background sound. I am Izuku Midoriya, and I am in a world where you need to fight to survive, and those who can't even fight, I'm sorry, but you're not going to make it here. The monsters that call themselves normal are nothing but creatures of nightmares. I woke up in the trunk of the tree and crawled out and decided I couldn't survive without items. I then went into the hunter's house and walked through the house. I have been in the house about a few times before because he kidnapped me a few times, but they were short and escaped once I have been in the house, but others I was in cages and didn't know he caught me. I also knew about his habits around the forest. I jumped into his window and found myself in the kitchen that was so familiar. I then smelled the rotten and disgusting smell of meat on the table that seemed like it was about to rot. I then jumped to the ground and went to the icebox, which had a freshly skinned animal. I took a knife and took enough to last me a while, and I made in a makeshift bag. I put it in there. I then went deeper into the house and saw his disfigured, disturbing excuse of a family that he made from probably humans. I walked past them and looked around the house, seeing things that have been tampered with, but since the hunter was pretty organized monster, well, except for where he does the dirty work. I then went through the back, which was kind of a long walk and kept me on my toes. It was a wooden path. The hunter would pass by, but I can avoid him. I get to the swamp-like area and went into the water since it was the best way to avoid him. I get to the swamp-like area and oh shit. Since it is the best way not to be found. I then hear gunshots from his shotgun and see two kids my age jump from the roof of the building into the swamp water. And they keep going. They were sure to be caught and killed if I didn't do anything. They then shot and I grabbed them into the little space, but in the process getting injured myself. It was a perfect hiding place for sure, and I put my hands over their mouths so they wouldn't make any noise. I hear his large footsteps on the wooden path, and I hear them walking down it, and enough where it would be a good distance where he couldn't hear us. I then say, "Who are you and why are you here?" The boy then says, "I came here on a whim." I looked at the girl, and she said, "I was captured." I nodded and take them by their hands and led them to a better hiding spot, just a bit away from the swamp and just to rest, since they seemed out of breath and barely standing. I lay them down and I stare at the hunter walking, and he gets farther away, and they get up and watch with me. I was then about to get out before I feel 2 tugs on my clothes and look behind me to see them both grabbing me. I looked at them confused and they say, please don't go. I say, I will be back, just stay here. I then grab the bow on my back and aim for the hole in his back face. I then hid behind some grass and he yelled in pain, in his groggily, disfigured voice staggering around. I then watched as the man fell on the ground and didn't get up. I doubt he was dead, so I walked carefully back to the hiding places and took both their hands and walked them over to a bland field with crates. When we were halfway to the shack, when the hunter was there and started shooting at us. And I make sure the other 2 don't get shot, but in the process I get a few injuries, a scratch here and there. When we got to the shack and the girl locked the door, and the boy jumped on the box and took the shotgun off the wall and dropped to the floor. The door started breaking and I saw the hunter's head poking out the door, breaking it quickly. I quickly picked up a block and put it in the position where it faced the door and in the middle, and then I placed the shotgun on top of it. Of course, taking a while, pointing it in the door, seeing the hunter almost breaking the door when I yell, "Cover your ears!" I pull the trigger and I hear the bullet bust through the door, shooting the hunter dead. All I hear is a ringing and my hands are shaking, not hearing much because of the shot. I look at the other 2 that seem shaken up by the whole thing. I mean, who wouldn't when they saw a stranger shoot a monster right in front of them? We sat there for a long time before I got up and said, "You guys can go. It was nice seeing other humans, but I recommend staying in the forest since it's safer now, since the hunter is gone. But if you have places to be, I won't stop you. But I would recommend becoming a bit stronger and cunning to survive, so yeah. What are you doing?" They looked at me and said, "Will you come with us?" I was kind of confused, and then the boy said, well, isn't it better for kids to stick together?" I scratch my head and say, "Well, I guess you have a right in that sense, so I guess. What's your names?" The boy and the girl's eyes light up, and the girl says, "You can call me Six." The boy then says, "I'm Mono. What's your name?" I say, "You can call me Nine." "So where are you planning on going?" Six looks at Mono, and Mono says, "I'm going to the signal tower, so the city." I say, "Okay, before we go, I need to get something, so I'll be right back." I then crawl through the hole in the wall and get outside before I look at the hunter's corpse and stare at it for a moment, before I take a knife and stab him in the face a couple of times before. I stop, I go to his gun and take out the last shotgun bullet and put it inside my coat as a trophy of sorts, if you can call it that. I then ran into the forest and looked for it. I then found it. I dug it up and then put it in my pocket. I run to the shack and take as much fresh meat that I can and put it in my makeshift bag, and then went back and crawled through the space again and go back to see Six and Mono, who was waiting for me. I then say, "Okay, let's go." Okay, sorry if this is a bit short. The next one is probably going to be made a bit longer. So, yeah. So, this is basically going to be covering the most part of the, the, like, storyline and the Little Nightmares. Also, if y'all have any suggestions for future things, or if any what ifs, or any new what ifs, or any other ideas, you can just put them in the comments. And this is London Silver, and I hope you have a nice day wherever the hell you are in the time zone, and I hope to see you again. Also, go follow my Twitter. It's London Silver. It's the same, so yeah. Have a good day.